Imagine living in a time when your building had a phone booth in every hallway, and your trash disappeared down a mysterious chute in the wall. Today, we take a look at 10 old apartment features that have faded into history. Before modern waste management systems, apartment buildings had incinerator chutes built right into the walls. These metal-lined shafts ran from each floor down to a basement incinerator room, where a superintendent would tend a massive furnace that burned continuously. Residents would open a small door in their hallway or kitchen and toss their garbage down the chute, where it would slide several stories down to the furnace. This was considered a huge convenience in the early to mid-20th century, eliminating the need to carry trash bags down multiple flights of stairs. The chute doors were usually decorated with brass or chrome to match the building's style, and became a status symbol that separated quality buildings from basic walk-ups. However, they created serious air pollution, with smoke billowing from rooftops across entire cities. Building superintendents had the dangerous job of maintaining these incinerators, working in sweltering basement rooms surrounded by flames and ash. As environmental concerns grew and air pollution laws got stricter, most cities banned incinerators in the 1960s and 70s. Today, many old apartment buildings still have sealed-off chute doors as reminders of this once common feature. Before cell phones, nearly every apartment building had a payphone booth in the lobby. These weren't just phones on the wall. They were actual enclosed booths with folding doors, a seat, and a light. The booth provided privacy for residents who didn't have their own phone line, which was common and expensive in the early 20th century. Tenants would use these booths to make calls, receive messages through the building operator, or even give the number out as their contact information. The booths were usually made of wood or metal and glass, designed to reduce noise from the busy lobby. In larger buildings, there might be 2 or 3 booths side by side to handle the demand, with people waiting in line during peak evening hours. Building managers would collect coins from the phones regularly, and this revenue helped offset building maintenance costs. The phone company maintained the equipment, and broken phones were a common complaint in building meetings. As private phone lines became affordable and eventually cell phones took over, these iconic booths disappeared from lobbies in the 1980s and 90s. The Murphy bed, invented by William Lawrence Murphy in the early 1900s, was a game changer for small apartment living. Murphy reportedly created the design because he wanted to entertain female guests in his one-room apartment without showing them his bed, which was considered improper at the time. These beds folded up into the wall or a cabinet, completely disappearing when not in use. This ingenious design allowed a single room to serve as both a living room during the day and a bedroom at night, essentially giving tenants 2 rooms for the price of 1. The bed was attached to a pivot mechanism with springs that helped lift and lower it safely, often with a counterbalance that did most of the heavy lifting. Murphy beds were especially popular in studio apartments and efficiency units in cities where space was at a premium and rent was calculated by the inch. Many buildings in the 1920s through 1950s came with these beds already installed as a standard feature. The beds often had decorative fronts that looked like cabinets or bookcases when folded up, blending seamlessly into the room's decor. While Murphy beds still exist today, they're usually aftermarket additions, rather than built-in apartment features, proving good design never truly dies. Steam radiators were the primary heating system in apartment buildings from the late 1800s through much of the 20th century. These cast-iron monsters stood against the walls and used steam from a central boiler to heat each apartment. They were incredibly heavy, often weighing several hundred pounds, and required no electricity to operate. The radiators would hiss and clang as steam entered them, creating the distinctive sounds that became synonymous with city apartment living and kept light sleepers awake at night. Many buildings provided decorative metal covers that went over the radiators, both for safety and aesthetics. These covers had intricate designs, ranging from simple wooden boxes to Art Deco metalwork, and prevented residents, especially children, from burning themselves on the dangerously hot metal. The covers also served as shelves where people would place pots of water to humidify dry winter air, along with plants or books. In winter, families would gather near radiators for warmth, and the covers turned these heating units into functional furniture. If you're enjoying this trip through apartment history, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps us keep bringing you these stories. While some older buildings still use steam heat, modern apartments have shifted to forced air systems and electric heating that take up less space. Some upscale apartment buildings in the early to mid-20th century featured built-in central vacuum systems. These systems had a large motor and collection unit in the basement with pipes running through the walls to each apartment like a pneumatic delivery system. Residents would plug a lightweight hose into wall outlets in different rooms to vacuum, making cleaning almost effortless. This was a huge luxury because traditional vacuum cleaners were extremely heavy and difficult to maneuver, often requiring two people to operate. The wall outlets were usually made of brass or chrome and became a major selling point for premium apartments. The system meant you never had to lug a heavy machine from room to room or worry about losing suction as bags filled up. Maintenance crews would empty the central collection tank in the basement and service the motor, keeping everything running smoothly. Building managers promoted these systems in advertisements, positioning them as the height of modern convenience. As portable vacuum cleaners became lighter and more powerful in the 1960s and 70s, these built-in systems became too expensive to maintain and were phased out. Dumbwaiters in apartment buildings were like mini elevators specifically for moving items between floors. These small shafts with hand-operated pulleys were installed in the walls, usually near the kitchen areas or in service hallways. Residents could load groceries, laundry, or other items into the dumbwaiter and send them up or down to other floors without touching a staircase. This was especially useful in buildings without passenger elevators, or when you didn't want to haul heavy bags up several flights of stairs. The compartments were typically made of wood with a rope and pulley system that required some muscle to operate before electric motors were added in the 1920s. In fancier buildings, the dumbwaiters were motorized and could carry heavier loads with the push of a button. Some buildings used them for restaurant deliveries to apartments or for laundry services that would pick up and return clothes. The shaft doors on each floor were usually small and unassuming, often tucked into a kitchen or hallway closet. However, they posed safety risks, especially for curious children who sometimes tried to ride in them, leading to documented cases of kids getting stuck or falling. As modern elevators became standard and buildings got better layouts, dumbwaiters fell out of use and most were sealed up or converted to storage. Individual mail slots built right into apartment doors were once the standard way to receive mail. These were actual openings cut into the door, with a small hinged flap on the outside and a catch basket on the inside. The postal carrier would walk the hallways and push letters directly through each door slot, and residents would hear the distinctive sound of mail dropping. Residents could retrieve their mail immediately without leaving their apartment or even getting dressed. This system was popular from the late 1800s through the 1950s in urban apartment buildings. The slots were usually made of brass or steel and positioned at a comfortable height for the mail carrier, often becoming decorative features. Some fancier apartments had ornate mail slot covers with the apartment number engraved on them, turning a functional feature into an elegant detail. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. We've got more nostalgic content coming your way. As security concerns grew and buildings centralized mail delivery to lobby mailboxes, door slots were sealed up or removed entirely. Laundry chutes were vertical shafts that ran from upper floors down to the basement laundry room. Residents would open a small door in their bathroom or hallway and drop dirty clothes down the chute, watching them disappear into the darkness. The clothes would fall several stories and land in a large bin in the basement, ready for washing. This was incredibly convenient because it meant you never had to carry heavy laundry baskets downstairs, especially in buildings without elevators. The chutes were lined with smooth metal to prevent clothes from getting caught and had spring-loaded doors for safety. In buildings with laundry services, staff would collect the clothes from the basement bin, wash them, and return them to residents for a weekly fee. Some luxury buildings even had separate chutes for different colors or fabric types, preventing whites from getting mixed with darks. However, fire safety concerns caused most cities to ban new laundry chutes by the 1970s, as they could spread smoke and flames between floors like a chimney. Today, sealed laundry chute doors can still be found in older buildings, often painted over or covered with wallpaper. Just like in houses, apartment buildings had special milk chutes for daily deliveries. These small, insulated compartments were built into the walls near apartment entrances or in common hallways. The milkman would make his rounds early in the morning, placing fresh bottles in each chute from the outside. Residents could then retrieve their milk from inside their apartment without ever opening the main door or going outside. This system was perfect for apartment living because it meant people didn't have to wake up early or wait around for deliveries. The chutes kept the milk cool and protected from theft, which was especially important in busy city buildings where dozens of families lived. Most milk chutes were made with double doors, one facing the hallway and one facing outside, with insulation in between to maintain temperature. As refrigeration became standard and supermarkets more convenient in the 1960s, home milk delivery declined, making these chutes obsolete. Many old buildings still have the original metal doors visible from outside, painted over, but still recognizable. Before direct dial phones, apartment buildings had live switchboard operators working in the lobby. These operators, usually women, sat at large wooden boards with dozens of plugs and jacks, manually connecting calls throughout the day. When someone called the building, the operator would answer, then physically plug a cable into the jack for the resident's apartment. The operator would ring the apartment, announce the caller, and connect them only if the resident wanted to take the call. This provided both a phone service and a layer of security, as the operator screened all incoming calls and could block unwanted callers. Many operators also took messages, provided wake-up calls, and knew all the residents personally, becoming unofficial building concierges. The switchboard room was usually a small office near the main entrance with a chair, the board, and a logbook where operators recorded all calls. Residents would tip their operators at holidays, and good operators were considered valuable building assets. As automatic telephone exchanges were developed and private lines became affordable, switchboard operators disappeared from buildings by the 1960s. These apartment features remind us how much daily life has changed in just a few generations. What seemed essential then is now just a curious relic hidden behind walls or sealed with paint. If you enjoyed this look at old apartment features, check out our next video on forgotten household gadgets. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support means everything to a small channel like ours.